Here are the hottest football news stories of the day. 1. Roy Keane criticizes Newcastle star. The pundit slams another Magpies player for their FA Cup exit, claiming he tries to be too clever. 2. Barcelona set Neymar condition. Barca reportedly tells Neymar the one requirement he must meet for a potential return. 3. Liverpool's predicted 11 versus PSG. Mohamed Salah looks to extend his record in a crucial Champions League clash. 4. Arsenal injury update. Latest news on Bukayo Saka and Gabriel Martinelli, including expected return dates. 5. Rodri's surprise Premier League return? Pep Guardiola hints at an unexpected comeback as a fresh injury timeline is revealed. 6. Marco Silva praises Man Utd star. The Fulham boss singles out a Red Devils player for his impact in their FA Cup battle. 7. Blatter and Platini back in court. The former FIFA leaders face a second trial over a controversial $2 million payment. 8. FIFA lifts Pakistan suspension. Pakistan's Football Federation is cleared to return to international action. Roy Keane slams Newcastle players after FA Cup exit. Newcastle United crashed out of the FA Cup after a 2-1 extra-time loss to Brighton, with Danny Welbeck scoring the winner. Pundits Roy Keane and Ian Wright criticized Tino Livramento for poor defending, while Keane also blamed goalkeeper Martin Dúbravka for trying to be too clever. Keane stressed that Dúbravka's mistake led to Brighton's decisive goal. Newcastle's Anthony Gordon also saw red, adding to their woes. With their FA Cup hopes shattered, the Magpies must now focus on their upcoming Carabao Cup final against Liverpool, though they'll be without Gordon due to suspension. Barcelona sets goal target for Neymar's return. FC Barcelona has reportedly told Neymar he must score 15 goals with Santos before considering his return. According to Sport, the 33-year-old, who recently left Al Hilal, has already scored 3 goals in 7 appearances for his boyhood club. Neymar, once part of Barca's legendary MSN trio, left for PSG in 2017 but never achieved his Ballon d'Or or Champions League ambitions. Now, he hopes for a second stint in Europe, possibly preparing for the 2026 World Cup. While some question his fit in Hansi Flick's system, his star power could boost Camp Nou's reopening appeal. Liverpool's predicted lineup versus PSG in Champions League clash. Liverpool faces Paris Saint-Germain in the Champions League Last 16 first leg, with Mohamed Salah aiming to extend his record as the African player with the most goal involvements in knockout rounds. The Egyptian star, who has 20 contributions in such matches, is set to start on the right wing. Cody Gakpo could return on the left, replacing Diogo Jota, while Alexis Mac Allister and Ryan Gravenberch anchor the midfield. Andy Robertson may return at left back, with Alisson, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Ibrahima Konate, and Virgil van Dijk completing the defense. Injuries rule out Tyler Morton, Connor Bradley, and Joe Gomez. Arsenal injury update. Saka and Martinelli nearing return. Arsenal remains without key attackers ahead of their Champions League clash against PSV Eindhoven. Bukayo Saka, recovering from hamstring surgery, is not expected to return until April 2025. Gabriel Martinelli, also sidelined with a hamstring injury, may return earlier but remains doubtful for the PSV tie. Meanwhile, Kai Havertz and Takahiro Tomiyasu will miss the rest of the season after undergoing surgery. Gabriel Jesus is also facing an extended spell out due to a serious knee injury. With crucial fixtures ahead, Mikel Arteta must navigate these absences as Arsenal pushes for success in both Europe and the Premier League. Man City injury update. Rodri could return before season ends. Manchester City manager Pep Guardiola has hinted that Rodri could return before the end of the Premier League season. The midfielder, initially ruled out for the campaign after suffering an ACL injury in September, has made faster than expected progress and resumed individual training. Guardiola remains cautious but acknowledged Rodri's recovery is going well. Meanwhile, City faces defensive setbacks, with Nathan Ake, John Stones, and Manuel Akanji all sidelined. Despite these challenges, City advanced to the FA Cup quarter-finals with a 3-1 win over Plymouth. Guardiola also criticized the FA Cup ball, calling it unsuitable compared to those in other competitions. Marco Silva praises Garnacho after Fulham's FA Cup win over Man United. Fulham manager Marco Silva singled out Manchester United's Alejandro Garnacho as a key threat in their FA Cup fifth-round clash. United were knocked out after a dramatic penalty shootout, with Bernd Leno saving efforts from Victor Lindelof and Joshua Zirkzee. Bruno Fernandes had earlier equalised Calvin Bassey's opener, but Fulham held on to take the game to penalties. Silva praised his team's control of the match, particularly in extra time, but admitted Garnacho caused problems after coming off the bench. The Argentine winger, returning from injury, injected pace into United's attack and posed a counter-attacking threat. Despite this, Silva believed Fulham deserved their win, highlighting their dominance in possession and structured play. With their FA Cup hopes over, Manchester United now shift their focus to the Europa League, with a crucial tie against Real Sociedad ahead. Manager Ruben Amorim will look to optimize his squad selection, and Garnacho's impact against Fulham suggests he could be a key player in their European campaign. Blatter and Platini face second trial over FIFA payment. Former FIFA president Sepp Blatter and ex-UEFA president Michel Platini appeared in a Swiss court on Monday for a second trial over a controversial $2.2 million FIFA payment. The trial comes nearly 3 years after their initial acquittal in 2022. Blatter, who turns 89 next week, looked frail as he arrived, while Platini appeared earlier. Both deny wrongdoing, insisting they had a verbal agreement for Platini's advisory work between 1998 and 2002. Swiss prosecutors argue the payment unlawfully enriched Platini and harmed FIFA's finances, seeking 20-month suspended sentences for both men. The trial, lasting 4 days, will conclude on March 25. FIFA is also pursuing a civil case to reclaim the payment and additional charges. Blatter and Platini, both banned from football since 2015, have failed in multiple appeals to return to the sport. Blatter remains banned until 2028 due to ethics violations related to World Cup bonuses. This case stems from FIFA's 2015 corruption scandal, which led to global investigations into football governance. The outcome of this retrial could have lasting implications for both men's legacies and football's ongoing fight against corruption. FIFA lifts Pakistan's suspension, allowing international return. FIFA has officially lifted its suspension on the Pakistan Football Federation (PFF), clearing the way for the national team to compete in international tournaments, including the 2027 AFC Asian Cup qualifiers. The suspension, imposed on February 5, resulted from PFF Congress members failing to implement required constitutional amendments. However, after a recent meeting in Lahore, the necessary changes were approved, leading FIFA to reinstate Pakistan's footballing status. Since 2019, a FIFA-appointed normalization committee has managed Pakistan football, but ongoing disputes delayed progress. A senior AFC official's intervention last week helped persuade Congress members to resolve governance issues, ensuring smooth operations. With the ban lifted, Pakistan is set to face Syria in their Group E opener on March 25, marking their return to international football. This decision brings renewed hope for the country's football development after years of administrative turmoil.